Once upon a time in a dark and gloomy wood, there lived a cunning and clever fox. His fur was the color of fire, and his bushy tail seemed to hold secrets of the forest. The animals in the wood knew him as the cleverest of them all, but some wished they could outsmart him. One evening, while the sun was setting, the fox sat on a log near a river. He watched two otters playing. They were chasing each other and making mischief. Suddenly, one of the otters cried out, "Oh dear, I have lost my ball in the river. It was a present from my mother, and now it is floating away." The fox felt a pang of sympathy, but he also saw an opportunity to play a trick on the otters. "Don't worry, my furry friends," he said with a sly grin. "I know how to get your ball back. Just follow me." The otters, desperate to get their ball back, followed the fox. They waded into the shallow water, and soon the ball was within reach. But just as they were about to grab it, the fox suddenly made a dash for it. One of the otters cried out, "Hey, you promised to help me get my ball back." The fox just laughed and said, "You silly otters, you should have known I was going to trick you." Then he ran off with the ball in his mouth. The otters were furious. They wanted revenge on the tricksy fox. So they called a meeting of all the forest animals. They told them how the fox had tricked them, and they all decided to teach the fox a lesson. That night, when the moon was high in the sky, the animals gathered near the fox's den. They were ready to pounce on him and teach him a lesson he wouldn't forget. The fox, unaware of the danger outside, was fast asleep. Suddenly, the door to his den burst open. The animals rushed in, but they couldn't find the fox anywhere. Then they heard a voice. "Where am I? Where am I?" The animals looked up and saw the fox perched on the roof of his den. "Come down from there, you tricksy fox," demanded a squirrel. "We're going to teach you a lesson." "Oh, really?" asked the fox, a sly grin spreading across his face. "Well, then why don't you climb up here and try?" The animals looked at each other. They knew they couldn't climb up the roof. The fox was too quick for them. Suddenly, one of the rabbits had an idea. "We'll block the entrance to your den, and then you won't be able to come out," he said. The animals nodded. It was a good plan, and they carried it out quickly. They formed a circle round the entrance to the den, blocking it completely. "Now, Mr. Fox," said a badger, "you can come out, and we won't bother you." The fox sat on the roof, his grin fading. He looked at the determined faces of the animals. He knew he couldn't stay on the roof forever. So he took a deep breath and said, "All right, I give up. You win." The animals cheered. They had outsmarted the clever fox. But as the sun began to rise, the animals started to leave. The rabbit noticed that the fox was still sitting on the roof. "Why aren't you coming down, Mr. Fox?" he asked. "I don't want to be bothered," replied the fox. The rabbit understood. He had learned something important that day. Sometimes being clever isn't enough. What matters most is being kind. "Here, Mer Fox," he said, picking up the ball. "This is for you." The fox's eyes widened. He had never received a gift like this before. He jumped down from the roof and said, "Thank you, rabbit. I will never trick you again." And from that day on, the animals in the forest were no longer afraid of the clever fox. They were his friends. The end.